Well, welcome everyone to our info session today on the Regional Virtual Production Academy. My name is Olivia Hereford. I'm the project lead for the RVPA project, and I have with me as my co-host Sarah Ferguson, and she is going to be basically keeping us on track, watching the chat, making sure that we've got our logistics running well. So again, welcome, welcome. I'm really excited to have you all here. This meeting, as you know, is being recorded so that you can come back to it if you like and share it with friends. So here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to give it, welcome. We've done that. And we're going to do an overview. What we're going to do today is, first of all, kick it off with our guest advisory members from Lux Machina, and we have oh my God, I'm Rebecca. I'm drawing a blank on your last name. I'm so sorry, but I think I have a slide that has all that. Okay,
Secretary.
uh, here we go. Rebecca Perry from for education and training and development, and Evan Cervantes are going to be speaking to us today too. And hopefully they're going to get you excited about some of the what's going on in virtual production and some of the roles involved in doing that work. So we're going to do that. Give them plenty of time to get you excited about virtual production. And then I'm going to share with you what the academy is all about, and how the pathways that you have to get industry skills and certificates of achievement in virtual production. How, as a student, the steps you would take to enroll, and then we're going to close it off. We've already started to offer many of the courses in the virtual production pathways already exist. And so we're going to show some examples from student portfolios of students that are taking courses, not only in some of the initial fundamental courses, but we have a couple of examples of students that from Cowena's course that are actually starting to put together projects using Unreal. And then we'll have some Q&A, right? So real quick, what is virtual production? Well, it's a filmmaking and video production technique that combines physical and digital elements to create immersive and realistic environments for filming, creating worlds and putting people in front of them. It involves the integration of real world sets, actors, props with CGI and other digital technologies in real time. Okay. We've done, our project has done some pretty extensive labor market information research. And just last summer, we found that here in the Bay Area, there is definitely an undersupply of virtual production workers compared to the demand that industry is looking for right here in this region. And, I would think that if you look at all of California, this would be a much bigger gap. But just in this region, we do have a supply gap. So if you're into animation, motion graphics, games design, and film production, you can play a role in virtual production. So, there's lots of avenues. So what I'd like to do right now is turn it over to Rebecca and Evan. I think, Evan, maybe you're going to start, but they're going to share their screen and tell you what it's all about, what the jobs are.
Well, thank you very much, Olivia. Thanks for having us. Rebecca, I believe you're going to share first. Am I correct here? You're going to share the screen and I'm going to speak? Okay.
Yes, let me just see if I can get this to.
Okay, great. So just to set this up a little bit, we're just going to show you a reel really quickly. It's very exciting. Can show you some of the work that we've done in the last couple of years. This one's slightly dated. It's from 2022, but it will seem very current because a lot of the projects we were doing back then are now released. So we'll have a look at that. And then I'll go into talking a bit more about what I do, what we do, what some of the avenues are for getting there, which I think is the most exciting part. Yeah, we'll hop into it. Rebecca, are you ready?
Hold on one second here.
Let me see if I can grab it. Might be easier.
Yeah, I got it, but it's just, let's see if I can get,
How's
it's
that?
not, that's fine.
Make sure we have share sound, high quality fidelity, whatever, blah, blah. Okay, can we all hear this? Can some of my hosts give me a thumbs up? Okay, great.
Yeah.
It was the most beautiful set I've ever shot on.
For a second, I really believed I was going into hyperspace.
To see the actors see what they're looking at was pretty transformative.
Don't you agree?
One of the biggest assets was the use of LED screens.
Nice touch, by the way.
Great, glad you approve.
What kind of fish?
I didn't ask what kind of fish it was, I'm sorry.
This is a pretty good size space for pretty much any large feature production could come in here.
We have a ton of gear coming in today, and we're installing the LED ceiling.
We understand exactly what you need from a production point of view as opposed to a manufacturer. Tie all the products together, make sure they operate together on set. It will also help add the creative and technical knowledge that we have that those manufacturers might not have.
Allows them to start seeing experiences in the LED volume as soon as possible.
We're driving cars on a Mars tonight. We're blasting off to the stars tonight. We wanna go, go. We wanna go, go. We're driving cars on a Mars tonight. We wanna go, go. We wanna go, go.
All right, I was waiting for a round of applause, but clearly we're in a call, so I can't wait for that. Okay, so now that I've shared that with everyone, I hope everyone's nice and pumped up. I'm going to also share into a little presentation here so that I have a visual to accompany me. Can everyone see this? Yes? Okay, we're all happy. Great. So first, really quickly, my name is Evan Cervantes. I am the Director of Business Development at Lux Machina. I'm accompanied by Rebecca Perry, who is our lead education specialist. She'll be talking in a little bit, talking to you guys more about how you get into this field, I suppose. Whereas I'm going to talk a little bit more about what we do now that we're in the field, and then avenues and how you can approach entering this field if that's of interest to you. So to talk a little bit more about what Lux Machina is, we are a company that specializes in technology. Oop, I went to the wrong document, so let's ignore this one for now. Hold on one second here. We're going to stop that share, and we're going to share this one. My apologies. Here we are. Control L. I think that's our full screen. No. Full screen. It is Control L. It just didn't work. Okay, so Lux Machina does a lot, but what we're focusing on today is in-camera VFX and virtual production. So we can share this with anyone. I have a couple more documents that I'm happy to share with students so you have references. Our expertise is basically solving technical issues. And we got big in the industry for solving the Mandalorian issue. You may be asking yourself, why did we end up doing the Mandalorian the way we did, which is in a large LED volume with an LED ceiling and LED walls? Well, in that particular scenario, he was covered in reflective surfaces, right? So it was a really good instance for us to use this technology that we've been playing with for years and suggest it for that particular use case, not only for interactive lighting, but for reflections. So why did we do that? Because it saved money in the long run. You know, in post-production, you would have to roto out all the green or the blue or whatever color it was. It just worked for that specific scenario. One of the things that Lux Machina focuses on is the right solution for the right job. We're not focused on pushing any particular avenue. We're happy to use projection. We're happy to use LED. We're happy to just use lighting if we need to, you know, DMX controlled lighting. So our expertise really lies in our location, our assets, our connections, and our people more than anything. The most important thing that we have are services. Those are our individuals, people from all over the world who have been playing with Unreal Engine, been playing with lighting consoles, different LED products. That is what makes us such a strong company. We are filled with a bunch of unique individuals. Oh, look at me, I'm right in the middle. So strong, great. We're filled with Imagineers, people from Disney, people who've been, myself, I come from concert touring, right? I played with giant LED wall setups all over the world, touring with some of the biggest artists. I never thought in a million years it would lead me to Hollywood and film and TV, but it did. I was just a roadie playing with LED, but learning signal flow and learning how to put these things together and how to modify color, which is extremely important in virtual production, it led me to this stage. And I'm extremely happy with where I'm at. It's a very, very fun world to live in. Part of my favorite thing about working in this industry of virtual production is discovering new avenues of technology that can further what we're doing currently and make the next generation, when you guys, you know, are taking my place, make this a much better industry to be in, make things faster and cleaner. And I heard you guys had a chat from SMPTE recently. You know, that's what's upcoming. We're looking at 2110 systems right now. And if you don't know what 2110 systems are, it's going to replace the need to have so many different types of cables to run video signal. You know, we'll be able to run it all over your regular old Cat5 and Cat6 like network cables. It's going to make systems so much smaller and more affordable and give access to everyone to do it from their homes and other stuff like that, which just makes it so much more compelling because it's more available to everybody. So we rely very heavily on our premium partnerships. We're happy to partner with all these people. You'll see Epic Games there. We partner with them all the time. It's a fantastic relationship. And without them, we're nothing, right? Without this technology, we're nothing. At the end of the day, as a consultancy at Lux Machina, we're just handshaking a bunch of gear together and making it work for the production that we're working on. So a little bit more about what we do. You saw there in the video. That's kind of why I showed it. We're not just film and episodic. We also do live broadcast, esports and gaming. We design a lot of stages, which I think is really cool, and a really cool avenue to go into is design, right? I was talking before this call with Chris a little bit about architecture. That's something that we're moving towards, right? Completely in the box engineering and design is a really beautiful way of doing things. And that's how we design all of our stages. All of the largest stages in the world, except one, were designed initially by us. So it's a pretty cool thing to be in. I'm going to skip over this one because it's not super relevant. Here are some of the builds that we've done worldwide. I'm happy after this call to share, you know, a bunch of videos and stuff you can find online of other studios that we've built and how we built them, so you guys can dig a little bit deeper into it. This is our largest stage in the world, and you can see up here in the top right, it's about 90 feet deep, 80 feet wide, and 30 feet tall. Why is it the size that it is? Well, sometimes we put planes in there. Sometimes we could put, you know, a whole set or 2 or 3 sets into it and accomplish multiple days of shooting in one place, which is our goal at the end of the day, is to amortize cost for productions so that it's easier for them to justify the spend and to save money on their production. You know, the obvious first goal for us is to immerse the actor, the principal actor, so that they can feel like they're in the environment and reference what they see up on the LED walls, and to offer interactive lighting. But you know, on my side of things, on the business development side, if you're interested in going into sales, everything about this process is won or lost by if it will save the production money or, you know, save them money overall. And it's hard to rent a rooftop building in New York for 10 hours where you could run into inclement weather, whereas it's very easy for me to get people into this space and you can control the weather, be there for multiple days, control the sunlight, all those fun things. And it might be a money save for them depending the situation. So that's another cool thing. There's a great video here I'd like to share, but I think I'm going to skip it for now and I'll share it with you guys afterwards so you can see our largest stage. This is something I do want to hop into because I think it's really a really cool and interesting document. So I'll stop this share real quick and I'm going to share again into this other guy that I was in before on accident. Okay. So this is a little document we call the dynamic range of in-camera VFX. We call virtual production in our field, in film and TV, we call it ICVFX, in-camera VFX, because specifically that's what we're working towards. That's our goal, is to get as much final pixel in our shot as possible to, again, amortize, save cost, make it easy, make it, you know, very immersive for our talent. And I really love this video graph, which again, I'm going to share with you guys so you have access, but it really breaks down very simply the three main different methodologies that we use when we're talking about in-camera VFX. So you can see at the top there, we're talking about a 2D breakdown. That's where the camera is just looking at an image that's flat on the wall. We're talking about 2D processing. On the right side of the top row, you can see what the camera is seeing, right? And nothing is changing in the environment. All we're doing is moving across the environment. You're not seeing any what we call parallax. I'm assuming most of you or some of you have heard that term before. Once you step down to 2.5D in the middle there on the left and right, you can see that there's different layers because now we're putting it in an engine. We're taking that image, that video file, we're breaking it out into different layers so that you can achieve a parallax, which you see on the right side there. The 2.5D, you can see the grass that's closest to the camera source is moving at a faster speed than the mountains in the very, very back. So now we've achieved some parallax, right? This is a middle ground of cost. You still now need to add camera tracking to your whole setup, but you're getting a lot more realism to it. Moving all the way down to the bottom in 3D, you can now see that the virtual camera is inside of the environment itself. And on the right side, you're getting accurate parallax. So you're seeing everything's moving the way that you would expect it to move. Now that's just a cheap previs piece of content, but I'm going to skip over here and you'll see more what we're talking about. So in the 2D, we've just put up an LED wall. We're looking over Ryan Reynolds' shoulder specifically for this one shot. Everything's moving really fast behind him. And that's all we need. We don't need any camera tracking. We don't need any parallax because everything's moving really fast, right? But we move into a 2.5D situation like we did on Shazam 2. And now you need some parallax to add realism to it. The camera is going to be moving around on this rooftop, this exterior rooftop. So you need some depth. You need some movement to it to convince the audience. And it worked out perfectly for this. But again, it's a middle ground affordability because you're using flat plates. There is now a step in between this and 3D where we start to wrap these flat plates around some geometry to give it some more definition to kind of cheat our way towards a 3D workflow. But this is 2.5D. It's a middle ground. It's something we use all the time. And then you've got your big 3D real time, the one that everyone always talks about, the Mandalorian-esque. We drop a full 3-dimensional environment and we're allowed to walk around and move around that space from the perspective of the camera itself. We use this on The Mandalorian, House of the Dragon. Most recently, we did Masters of the Air with this. We also use this for Barbie when we did the Space Odyssey 2001 spoof at the beginning, which was really fun. But yeah, it's a super, super cool technology. I hope I am going slow enough for everybody. So again, this one I will share with the whole board here so you guys can share it out to the students if they would like to have this. It's a public document. All right, I'm hopping back into the other guy now. Oopsies, this is the same one, I think. My bad. Oh no, that was the right one. I'm silly. I was just on the same page. Okie dokie. Control L. Worked last time. Let's see if it works this time. It did not. Okay. We'll go this way. Okay, so now we've looked at what that is. Here's some projects. We don't really need to talk about this as much. You guys can look through these reels as much as you want online. But what I do want to talk about really quickly is the different avenues of achieving in-camera VFX. So you saw in the reel that we were looking at Solo, a Star Wars story, but that's not LED, right? That's projection. This particular scenario called for a solution that required a shape we couldn't achieve with LED, and rear projection ended up working perfectly for this. We were able to wrap a projection screen around the Millennium Falcon's cockpit and project the star jump onto the scrim, or onto the projection screen, and it worked gloriously for that. So it's just to show you, it doesn't have to be LED. In-camera VFX does not have to be LED. You can use projection. You could use green screen. You could do real-time comping. You could do blue screen. There's lots of different avenues for virtual production. LED just happens to be the most popular, and we think the most realistic at this point in time, just because of color workflows. Star Trek was interactive lighting. Black Adam, you can see there the big LED volume around here. And then on to the end here, I'm going to skip some of this stuff. This is my favorite. We were live for over 300 hours with set extension and camera tracking, all done from China during the pandemic, which is super cool. You know, this one included an LED floor. So it doesn't just stop at the LED walls. You can add tracking and everything into the floor and into a ceiling. So there's like really unending possibilities here. I will say one thing about that. You don't really want to use LED floors for film and TV yet. The color is not good enough. The light reflection through the toppers on the LED it changes how the light source comes through those covers, and it doesn't look right. So we're not there yet. Then on to camera tracking. These are some of our partners. I hope everyone knows what camera tracking is. If you haven't played with it, that's another great way to get into our industry. A camera tracking supervisor or technician is a whole job on one of our productions. That is the person who is completely responsible for nothing but making sure that that camera is tracked at all times, recalibrating in the morning, making sure everything is spot on. And you have different types of camera tracking that are all very exciting. Outside in tracking and inside out. So definitely take a look at that. That's a great avenue into the industry. We are always looking for camera tracking specialists. And that's pretty much the end of my portion here, Rebecca. So I'm going to stop sharing and hand it over to you.
Great, thank you. Hello, everyone. Let me just see if I can start at the beginning here. Smooth being. So as Evan mentioned, and as Olivia mentioned, I lead the education and training group, education and training efforts at Lux. And you know, that really covers a lot of territory, actually. We'll talk a little bit about it. We have a lot of, as Evan mentioned, you know, this is our team. Everybody in this team has a huge amount of diverse skills and abilities. And you know, it's a real challenge for everybody to keep up with all the changing tech. And one thing people do is share their knowledge with each other. And that is a very important part of what happens on a project. I'm sure Evan would agree that everybody's always kind of teaching each other a little bit about what goes on, but everybody comes into this field with a lot of different kinds of expertise. Evan mentioned Disney Imagineering. People came from that field. People came from live events. And that blend of people and that blend of expertise makes Lux a very flexible, very agile company, and lets us tackle all these different kinds of projects we do. And also, as Evan mentioned, all these partners that we work with. Another aspect of learning is learning from partners and sharing knowledge with partners. We bring expertise that we share with partners. Partners also share expertise back. And that's another way that the whole industry sort of moves forward. It's through these collaborations with different companies at different times, and R&D work that is, you know, sometimes shared. And sometimes people are collaboratively developing certain kinds of new software or hardware combinations that move everything forward. So like I said, there's a bunch of different kinds of learning that takes place, and sharing with partners is sort of the first kind of thing. Another kind of thing is we're involved in all these different industries. So, different parts of Lux, we partner with Halon, we partner with Trilith, and to do all these different things that sort of are in different technical domains. And each of those domains has some overlap. They're not all separate, really. But what happens in these domains? In the visualization domain, there's virtual location scouting, pitch viz, storyboards, pre-viz, tech viz, technical visualization, post viz. These are all kinds of positions that you can have if you want to work in the visualization end of things. And there's lots of jobs associated with all of those things. If you want to talk about software and hardware development, virtual art department, system infrastructure, budget development even, and cinematography, these are all things that are in a second domain. If you're as we are operating a volume, operating a production, it could be XR and AR that you might want to have expertise in. Motion capture, as Evan mentioned, camera tracking is very important. General virtual production skills, creative LED and projection, and how to install that and how to manage that. That's another whole set of jobs that can lead you into some aspect of this industry. So I think it's important to kind of identify for yourself which things are of most interest to you, and sort of pick a path or pick a domain and see within that domain, where would it possibly take you and what would you enjoy doing? Again, we have in the execution end of things, color calibration, very important. System integration, LED projection installation, research and development, and then optimization of assets and management of assets. So all of these things actually encompass a few different types of positions that you can get into. On our team, just to name a few of the positions that we have at Lux, there's the head of systems, engine operations, senior engine operator, associate engine operator. These are all ways you can get into if you're very, much interested in Unreal and love to tinker and tweak and, work with Unreal assets. Motion capture supervisor, there's a lead, there's a specialist, there's a supervisor, there's a technical director. These people all work together to ensure that motion capture is happening properly. And camera tracking is another one that's not on this list, but also very important. Virtual production department supervisor and coordinator. And finally, I'm just mentioning a color scientist. Lux has a color scientist on staff, and many companies do, because it's an critically important role. I'm sure Evan can talk about this. Anything to do with all the kinds of screens that you're using and all the kinds of different ways of looking at a scene, it matters what the director is going to see as the final, and you have to be able to calibrate all these things and ensure that the color is moving smoothly and that you're actually, have a good workflow for getting the correct color as the director would like. So all of these roles are happening in these different production domains. So virtual production, system design, production and show control, technology design and sourcing, film and broadcast, and software development. You can get into this field in any of those ways. These are all avenues to enter into the field. So, you can see if you're a programmer, if you're interested in, being on set and production, if you're interested in thinking about hardware, if you're interested in, how to control, how to work with the production design, if you're interested in signal flow, and if you're interested in any of the different topics that comprise virtual production, there's a place for you in this industry. So pretty broad, and it's anybody who's got any interest at all in this technology will probably find a domain that suits them. And I want to say that we had a series of classes. Koina knows about these. We partnered with Unreal last year to produce a 1-year series of courses on in-camera visual effects. It was all held on Zoom. We over the course of the year, we had more than 1,000 people join these courses from all over the world, many different time zones, and we were able to have a really good time together, even though, you'd say, well, it's on Zoom and everything. But, it's surprising how Zoom can really unite people across time zones in a way that you can't do any other way at this time, It's pretty amazing. And it was a very satisfying experience from the feedback we got. A little challenging sometimes with the time zones to find a time that was good for people in all these different areas. And some people were up at 2 a.m. We had New Zealand and California in the mix, so quite a difference. The instructors were showing Unreal. This was sponsored by Epic, and we were basically showcasing the capabilities of Unreal Engine. And we had Unreal instructors leading us through the whole ICVFX setup. And this is Phil Donahue, who Koina knows, if you people know. And we did some of the demos on the Lux stage. Try to go back here. This is our R&D stage in downtown LA, and small stage, so we couldn't invite the whole class in anyway. But through Zoom, they were all able to attend, which was great. And we were able to kind of show them the stage and show them how things operate in Unreal, and then see what shows up on the LED. We had guest speakers. This is Zach Alexander and Hannah Shilsky. And we had many great guest speakers. That's another thing Zoom lets you do, as we're doing today. Bring people in from all over, and you get the opportunity to have a conversation with people that you wouldn't normally hear from. And we had a few visitors, and we're able to show a few people around, but we had actually three in the initial class. We had the instructors were located in Pasadena. We had instructors in New York. We had instructors also in Bristol in the UK. We had the use of 3 different stages, and we had students from all those places joining the classes. And then in each location, people were able to join and visit the stage in those locations. So it was a little bit complicated, but it was totally an interesting experience, and I think people really enjoyed it. And so thanks for this opportunity to join you guys here today. And if you do have a resume that you want to submit, we're always happy to receive them. We're not always hiring, but we're always happy to see who's out there and what their skills are, and get to know you a little bit. And you can look us up on LinkedIn, and we have a Discord channel. I'll put that in the chat. We'll link to join our Discord. And you can always email me if you have a question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rebecca and Evan. I tell you, the more that I learn about this whole industry and environment, the more it's so obvious that it takes a very diverse team of talent to accomplish what you all are doing. And that really is kind of is a great lead in to what the RVPA is all about. It's a collaborative program. And the reason why it's collaborative is that there wasn't one college in our region that could offer all of the courses to begin to prepare this kind of talent. And the other reason we wanted to do a collaborative is that when you have that kind of situation, you always sometimes have to wait a semester or two to get the courses that you need. But if you bring the colleges together, then it makes it accessibility to those courses more readily available, and you can finish up quicker. So we have 6 colleges that are participating in the collaborative right now. We do hope that others will join once we after we've launched it and got all our processes together, because this is a first. I mean, it is a very ambitious program to bring together six colleges to offer a program to develop this talent. And it's a win-win. I mean, I think it increases accessibility. Our colleges are happy because they get enrollments and completions. Students are happy, they can get they can complete faster. And also it really supports our diversity and equity priorities because there's so much diversity what we're seeing in the students that are interested in these types of talent and programs. So it's collaborative learning, 6 colleges participating. Your college may be the home college, but you could take courses from any of the other colleges. And as you can see, we've got some really esteemed faculty here with us today. I mean, Chris, I didn't know you'd been with Unreal for that long. So and Kawina as well. I think Kawina has joined us as well. So we've got some really great faculty here. And one of the things too that we really want to do as part of our programs is give you some opportunities to get some hands-on experience, internships, and team projects that I'll talk to you a little bit about later. I know this is very small, difficult to read, but it shows you the pathways of the program's pathways. It starts off with a fundamental certificate. And then once you've completed that, you can go on to the advanced virtual production certificate. And it has 3 specializations: animation, modeling, and film production. And we're in the process right now of designing an associate's degree, which we hope to have that done. The best way to really get information about these pathways in a little bit more detail is this web. And Sarah, if you could put this in the chat for people to refer to later, that would be great. But this is our students page for the RVPA website. A little bit more about what I've already shared with you. This is the contact form. If you want to get more information about the program, next steps, whatever, you would fill this out. But if you go down further, you'll get some details about what courses are part of each of the certificates, where they're being taught, the descriptions. Okay. And I believe you can also take a look at the schedules. Okay. Which course is being taught? This obviously spring semester has started. If you want to take a look ahead and see what's being taught in the spring, okay, you can also do that as well and start making your plan. So this is a really great opportunity here to take a look at, start to make your plans for pursuing that. So anyway, so check that out. Now, how would you enroll? Well, we're starting with these info sessions to make you aware of the program. You attend the session, and then what you could do would go to that form that I showed you and fill it out, or you can talk to one of your faculty. I mean, if you're one of Chris's students, you can talk to him, and he can tell you a little bit more about what to expect. But we also will have a student success specialist who can also walk you through the steps and everything that you need to take to participate in a collaborative program. It's very different than just going to a single college. We have to be able to share information across the colleges about how you're doing, your progress, what you're completing. So as many of you know, there's information that we need, FERPA information and a release to be able to share that information, make sure you're a resident, okay? And so once you've done that, you get started at your home college. You declare that virtual production as your major. If you haven't done so already, you'll apply for financial aid. You've already enrolled in your home college, and then if a course comes up that you want to take at another college, we call that a teaching college. The specialist or your faculty could help you get enrolled at that teaching college into the course that you need. And our system will track your completions and help you, and then so that we're able to help you then consolidate those grades and then help you petition for completion of not only the courses but their certificates. And the home college, your home college is the one that awards the credential. Okay, so that's a real quick overview, but there's more information on the website. And we would, if you're interested, we would certainly reach out to you to give you more information and more details. As you can see by having our wonderful guests there, I am just thrilled that the RVPA has one of the most incredible advisory boards I have ever worked for. They're really excited about making the connection with the RVPA because that's all that talent that Rebecca explained that they need out there. But they're really interested in supporting organizations and programs like that that are preparing that talent. As a part of that advisory, we had an opportunity to test an internship program that we were getting started. A group of interns at DVC was involved with the real-time XR Sport Age to create a project in that showcased immersive tech and sports entertainment. And we are in the process right now of expanding that internship programs to all of the colleges. And I'm excited about that because here's another opportunity where teams come together from the different colleges to put together projects like this one. So anyway, in closing real quick, because I do want to have some time left for Q&A here, I'd like to share a couple of examples of student work coming out of some of the classes that are in the RVPA pathway. So this one comes from Berkeley City College. The student is Chris Wingler, and the course that this video was created in was their, gosh, I don't know what MMA is, layout and lighting, and it's a work in process. And he did use Unreal. Pretty cool. And then we have one from one of Coena's students at Laney College. This is really cool.
Olivia, do you want to expand the screen?
Okay. So those are the types of things that our faculty are teaching you how to do to get ready for some of these roles. And I want to thank Coena and Mary Park Miller for sharing these with us. Oh, we got one little quick short one here, I think. Let's see. So there's some examples. So anyway, good. We've got at least 10 more minutes here. I wanted to get through those real quickly because I wanted to give people the opportunity to ask questions. I'm gonna bring up my chat here and see if we have any questions so far in the chat. If you haven't, you are more than welcome. We've got a small group here. So if you have any questions, you can certainly, unmute yourself and go ahead and ask. Or if you have a question that you would just want to put it in the chat, you can do that as well.
So to clarify, if we wanted to get involved in this program, it would be filling out that form on the RVPA website, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Rebecca and Evan, I have a question for you all, if that's okay.
Of course.
Great. First of all, thank you. Rebecca and Evan, I know you guys are super busy. You guys are doing the high power, Oscar nominated, Oscar winning films. And to take time out of your really busy day to come and speak to our students and speak to us is very kind and very generous of you. And it's not to be overlooked because you all could be doing things, you could be doing a lot of things, but you're here and we're very grateful.
Our pleasure. Nothing we would want to do more than help educate the future. Trust us. We need more people.
Exactly. So what do you, from both of you, what do you think is probably the most important skill? And that could be hardware, software, or wetware, just your mind and your capabilities. What do you think is the most important skill that someone needs to succeed in this industry?
I get that question all the time. And I have come to the realization that the most important skill that you can have coming into this industry is a cool head and patience and your willingness to learn and expand on what you're already doing. The technology stuff, like we get that. Anyone can learn that. Go out and get it. I find that signal flow is very important to understand if you want to be on the physical side of like wiring racks and sussing out issues, fixing problems on set, because we always need technicians. That is something we're always short of. If you don't want to be the person operating in the hot seat on the day of production, maybe you could be interested in system design. Very important, signal flow. But in both roles, the most important thing that we see on a daily basis and the reason that we are where we are as a company is having patience, having a cool head, and being okay with not knowing everything and learning something new. That's the most important skill you can have. It's an interpersonal skill. You can't learn that in school. You just got to practice being on set and being under stress.
Yeah, and another thing that's adjacent to what Evan just said is one of the hardest things to teach and one of the most in-demand things is troubleshooting, which means basically having broad enough knowledge and curiosity about not exactly what you're doing, but what the person next to you is doing, so that when something goes wrong, you can, first of all, not freak out, and secondly, you can start to think of possible solutions. That's also extremely important and very hard to teach. It's just, it's experience really, and you have to have patience, as Evan said. That's really important.
Well, thank you. I mean, we've been in the industry for years, and we know you get onto a set and everything can go wrong at any given moment. Things you hadn't, out of left field, you didn't even know it was a thing, and all of a sudden it's a thing that has to be resolved. And it's just if you guys could speak just a little bit more, because I can't emphasize enough how critical troubleshooting and a level head really, I mean, I don't care if you were born under the sign Epic Games and Unreal, if you don't if you can't troubleshoot, or if you don't have the kind of head level head that can handle something going left, then it really doesn't matter. Just your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I mean, from every avenue, my personal experience wasn't in the proverbial hot seat for Unreal Engine. Like I said, I come from being a video crew chief and concert touring. That was my main bread and butter for many years, which is on the design side. I designed systems. Helped design and then built Coachella's main stage LED wall for 3 years. That is a beast. You got to be aware of wind and dust and rain and all kinds of stuff. It's just contingencies. There's tons of contingencies you have to be aware of. So from my perspective, having an example of something going wrong, I once was doing a Jennifer Lopez tour and I was the video crew chief. That means I'm in charge of the director. I'm in charge of all the camera people, all the camera signal, all the LED technicians, LED signal, the engineer, everything. Everything in the video world is my realm, which today in concert touring is most things outside of sound and the lights. And the wall stopped working, the upstage center wall, which is the main wall right behind Jennifer Lopez. And long story short, it was an unfixable issue that to this day our video processing company still doesn't know what's wrong and sent out people to follow me around for the rest of the tour, but it stopped working and it was distracting to the show. And in those situations, every department is now over your shoulder asking you how long till you're going to fix this problem. And they're not asking very nicely, as I'm sure you can imagine. So knowing that I needed to fix the issue, you got to go into your calm place and if you don't know how to fix it, you need to think clearly and start at the beginning and start at basics and start with signal flow. And at the end of the day, I could not fix the issue and it was okay. Instead, what I did is I knew the show well enough that I knew when it went black, I could turn off the LED and the rest of the show was so bright that no one would know the difference. So that's what I did. I turned off the whole LED wall for the last 7 minutes of the show and it was totally okay. Jennifer Lopez didn't notice. No one in the audience noticed, and I went to production and told them, here's what happened and why and how to fix it in the future once I talked to the company Brompton and we all figured it out. But again, if you don't know how to fix something, the only thing that you're going to be able to rely on is your base knowledge. Take your steps, follow the signal flow, solve whatever you think you can solve. And if you can't, look for the next best option and cross your fingers. And that's basically what it is. So that's a good experience for me. I think I saw Josh, you had your hand up next. You got a question?
Yeah, so my principal skill in working with Unreal is as a game designer and thinking about people a human interaction with the virtual world. Do you think integrating that kind of real-time interaction between potentially actors or people, is that a useful skill for maybe not the current state of virtual production, but maybe in the future?
I think it's relevant currently. I think we do a lot of that for live broadcast. You wouldn't really think of it for film as much, but definitely for television. There's a few shows out there where we have in real time captured facial tracking data, sent it into Unreal, captured motion capture, whole body motion capture data, sent it into Unreal, collate and comp together a feed of an avatar in place of that human in the feed. So I think that's totally and completely relevant to right now. If you're looking at designing games, you are also designing for film and television. The only difference in that space is your level of photorealism, which is what they're really looking for in film and TV most of the time.
Thank you very much.
Then Chris, you have your hand up.
Yeah, hi. Thanks so much. It's been awesome. I just put my question in the chat too. So can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I've been using real time, been doing live concerts in Unreal for 10 years now. So it's always been, like you said, keep a cool head and who unplugged the cable and who hit the wrong buttons. And my question is really, since COVID and doing all the online, you mentioned, Zoom's changed everything during COVID. That if anything good came out of the pandemic, it was, wow, we could really meet online and get stuff done as well as meet in person. So My big question is I've been building a home studio space all during COVID, and I'm just about done with all these different types of green screen, but for a small studio, right? Like stop motion set with the LED wall as opposed to a big
Oh, very
hanger
cool.
for home use. Yeah. So my question in the chat is to students. I'm always trying to get them to the bare bones, like at least get a decent computer, get good internet, get good lighting. So what would be a kit you would suggest for all the students getting into virtual production? We want to go to the hangar. We want to use the big green screen room. We want to go check out the fancy camera. But where would you start people off if, say, they had a budget of 1 to 2K or a little more? But you got to start. You got to invest in your future for skill, right? You can't go be a great oil painter and not get good oil paints and canvas, right? So what would you suggest?
So
the starting point.
I am not the greatest in this world, but from what I know, right, I used to be the technical director at a place called XR Studios, and we used to play with this stuff. Like, what's the smallest system that we could design that could be useful in any space? And there's a couple of standouts that were always great for us. First of all, if anyone knows how to mess with Raspberry Pis, there's now great tracking systems that you can get set up with Raspberry Pis and a small little like spy camera off Amazon for $4. I'm gonna call my buddy after this and try to get that information, Chris, and I'll send it to you so you can share it with the rest of the class because I'm not the expert there. But I think the system that he built was $65 and it could track everything and input that data directly into Unreal from a Raspberry Pi 4. So you can get very, very small. The next thing I would say is the Kinect, the Xbox Kinect has actually the Kinect camera. I think they maybe have merged with Vive. Those are fantastic and they work really well. I've done a production in 2019 with a Kinect camera on one of our cinema cameras for tracking and AR elements. So, I mean, at this point in time, what I would say from my perspective is it's all about your creativity. Like you can do it with pretty much anything as long as you can input the signal into Unreal or into whatever engine you're trying to work in. At that point, it's just about being creative. And to piggyback off this exact question and this topic, if you can be as creative as a guy like Sushi Dragon on Twitch, I don't know if anyone's familiar with that guy, but yeah, Josh, you're nodding your head. He just buys any equipment he can get his hands on. And he's like, how do I make this work for what I'm trying to do? That is what everyone's looking for. The guy who can, or the guy or gal that can just open up a toolbox and say, what do you got? I'll mess with this. That's like the most impressive person to have on your team.
I think, yeah, you identified a tracking system and you just need a large television really to get started as your screen.
Or
That'll
green.
work.
You could
green.
also just do comping. You could get a
Green.
sheet of chroma green screen behind you. You could buy it on Amazon or chroma blue. I think you can also key on black if you already have a black sheet. Yeah.
Some kind of time code generator, which those can be had fairly inexpensively.
Yeah, there's even ways to generate within the box these days. It's less reliable. You wouldn't want to use it for a live production, but for students, yeah, you can use like a master clock generator. I believe they have a plugin for Unreal as well for that. I might be wrong there, but you can generate in the box now too. So you can play around at home and do your own productions.
That's awesome. Thank you. Those are new. I've been from the modeling and animation side. So the film, video parts, like the stuff, some of those things you just mentioned is good to know, like what basic equipment to get familiar with. Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's always changing, of course, as people are coming out with new stuff and
yeah.
I'm just noticing we're after the 7 o'clock hour. Is there one final question? I kind of don't want it to end. This has been so amazing. Tell us all the
I think I see one. I see one question. Someone was asking about any other software. What was it?
How do you see Sora AI will impact virtual production and filmmaking as a whole? And then yes, Josh, the Kinect is huge in robotics, super cool tool. From my perspective, I just got back from South by Southwest, and this is the biggest, festival in the world that talks about technology. And I would say, I just got back last night. I would say 60 to 70% of every talk, every panel that I went to was, all doomsday on AI. AI is going to take over everything, blah, 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 this and that, this, that. AI is a tool, guys. It's a tool at the end of the day. There's no reason to be afraid of a tool that we are creating. Just get familiar with it and learn how to use it to your advantage. So how Sora AI will impact the virtual production and filmmaking industry as a whole, I think it gives people access that aren't currently as lucky as us to know and have resources to be able to, you know, play with this kind of equipment. It gives people access to create for themselves so they can be creative and push the industry forward as a whole, because it'll make all of us that are already in the industry step up and make our products better. I think it's just, it can't do anything but emulate what's already been created, right? It's not making anything new. That's up to us. So I think it'll push us harder. I think it may replace a few people, honestly, in terms of efficiencies when it comes to content creation, but I think that'll be very minimal. I think as a whole, art will always come from human beings, and I think it's up to us to control this mechanism of creation.
Well, I want to just reiterate and say again what Coena shared. Rebecca and Evan, we really appreciate you giving us your time today. This has just been amazing. I think hopefully we'll get a lot of references. Faculty will share the recording. So again, thank you so much. As a wrap, I would just like to just give you just a real quick what's coming next for us. Again, this was the BayICT Tech Talk. So the next talk will be back to the IT side. We have one of our alumni coming back to talk about, what he's been up to and what we're doing, what he's doing to give back. And then our next session will be looking at data analytics in May. So again, thank you so much for joining us. And again, this will be recorded. Oh, I thought I saw just before I left, I think, did someone try the Discord link? And I saw that it.
Yeah, the Discord link is no longer active, so we'll have to reshare it. I owe Chris some stuff anyway. I'll send Chris some stuff, and then we owe you, Olivia, a new link for Discord.
I would love that, because then we could share that with the RVPA faculty, and then they can pass it on to the students. That would be great.
And Evan, if you could also share those links that you did in your presentation or your
Of course.
And,
yeah, I shared it in the chat there for anyone that's here. If you scroll up a bit, it is in there. But when Olivia, when we send you what we owe you, I'll send you links to those documents as well.
Very good. Very good.
Evan, can you also share me the Raspberry Pi? I do Python. I code Python on the Raspberry.
You got it. You got it. Hold on, let me take down that email that you shared.
That would be fantastic.
Gotcha. I got your email.
Thank you.
So not only a wonderful talk, but a lot of great resources that came out of this. Really, really appreciate it. And like I said, we'll share that with our faculty and their students. Thank you so much.
And I did pop the link in the chat to where you can access this video as well.
Oh, great. Where is that?
BayICT. That's me, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it kind of is just like an archive of all of the different tech talks that we had. And we can also include your presentations as like a little package. So when a student is interested, they can get the whole gamut.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pleasure.